Hello, hello. Here we are again, coming to you from the Paranormal World Show under the umbrella of Broadcast Team Alpha. And my name is Aage, and I'm the host tonight. And my co host, Nori, will be with us next month when we are moving to Thursday. And I'll tell you a little more about that in just a little bit. And we are also transmitting on the Conscious Awakening Network. So if you want to see us over there and all the other shows that they have, go to YouTube and go to Conscious Awakening Network and you scroll down and you'll find us there and you'll find all the other shows there. There's close to 50 of them that you just need to see. Anyway, I before I introduce the guest, I want to also let you know how you can get in touch with us, myself, and also with Nori. Go to broadcastteamalpha.com and send us a message from the contact section there, and we'll get the email and we'll get back to you, and we can communicate. You can ask questions, and well, we can become friends. That would be a good thing. And also, this, if you are watching this on YouTube, this is the place to be because that's the only place we can watch the chat room and you can participate, you can ask questions, and maybe we can answer them. So, yes, I did mention that we are moving to Thursday. Put this on your calendar, put it in your smartwatch, your smartphone, or anywhere smart or dumb. Just put it on there so that you don't miss it because we are going to be next month from July on, we are going to Thursdays at 7 o'clock East Coast time. There have been some logistics been moving around on us here, so it is going to be 7 o'clock instead of 8 o'clock. So 7 o'clock East Coast time and 4 o'clock Pacific time. And wherever else you are around the world, you can just go to your smartphone and you'll figure it out. So I'm going to introduce my guest tonight, and Bill Mee is returning to Broadcast Team Alpha, and he's been here a couple of three times before. He's a student of the universe. He's a researcher, a digger. He finds stuff that a lot of people won't find. And just a couple of things about him. He was 4 years in the military, and after military, he started looking into what's behind the curtain. And he's also part of our mastermind group. And we appreciate that because he comes with some really good information. And for those of you that is watching on YouTube right now, go ahead and look in the chat room, and also that will be underneath the banner. There is a link where you can connect to him, so you can get on his communication
Telegram
modes. Yeah, there you go. And well, we were talking before, and there is so much going on, and I don't even know where to start. But you mentioned something that is coming up soon, and people will know, and that is the extraterrestrial presence. Maybe you
Yes.
could talk a little bit about that first, because there is not everybody knows about this. At least I think there is at least two guys out there that don't have a clue that they're probably walking down the street with you, and you'd never know it because they look just like us. They're here to observe and affect in the ways that they can. Because this is what, first of all, people have told us that has met them and communicated with them, and also they are themselves have told us. So give us a little insight to what's going on maybe around us.
Okay. Well, let me tell you a little bit about my history and how I came to know that the ETs are here. For me, I was curious because we always had these sightings in the sky, and I knew that there was somebody behind those craft. And the question is, who are they and why are they here? That's always the big question I wanted to know. Who are they and why are they here? I already knew that they existed. So, I came up from a Christian background, and Christianity doesn't really teach much about UFOs. They just try to say they're all demonic. And I wasn't buying it because I was hearing a lot of late night talk shows on Coast to Coast with Art Bell, and I was hearing people having good experiences. They said they went on board and they were told certain things about our planet that were polluting our planet, destroying our planet. We need to change our ways. So I was really curious. I thought, okay, well, uh, that sounds like to me there's some good ETs out there, extraterrestrials. And when I first heard the testimony of Dr. Frankie Strange's talk about his encounter with Al Thor when he worked at the Pentagon, that kind of solidified it for me. Okay, I'm convinced we have some good ETs here and they're here to help us. And I always had that open mind after that interview with Dr. Frankie Strange's, and I started attending some of his meetings, and I was convinced that he was in touch with this character by the name of Al Thor, who was from the planet Venus. And I heard his personal encounters that were so unique, and there's no way he could have made these stories up. And I said, okay, he's really in touch with this guy. And he talked about what happened when he'd go on board Balthor's UFO craft called Victor One, which was parked near Lake Mead in Henderson, Nevada. He'd go on twice a year. So that convinced me that, okay, we have good ETs here, and they're here watching over our planet. And I thought, okay, what can they do? Can they intervene? How much can they intervene? That's kind of the next question I really had. And why aren't they just coming on the scene? And everybody has that question. Why don't they just show up on the White House lawn? Or why don't they just, flood our skies? Well, it's because they have a prime directive and they have to follow the prime directive. Prime directive says that they will not interfere in the evolution of another civilization. That's part of the universal laws that they have to follow. Now they when they first arrived, they've been always watching our planet for thousands of years, but they started showing up in big numbers when we detonated the atom bomb. Because when we detonated the atom bomb, we were threatening Gaia. And that atom bomb has ramifications throughout the entire universe because it's a scalar wave that goes out. And it even also pollutes, the radiation will pollute the inner Earth and the hollow Earth, and they weren't having it. So the hollow Earth people, which I found out about later, uh, they came to the surface after we detonated the atomic bomb to see how much damage we had done, and they made sure that it wasn't going to happen again. So the galactics are here primarily to make sure we do not destroy Gaia, because Gaia is a living sentient being, and if she dies, we all die. And we're here part of this experiment to uh, uh, increase our evolutionary goal. We're trying to grow our soul in an evolutionary way, and we do that by experiencing challenges. So we incarnated on this planet to experience duality. And duality is not easy to deal with, especially when you're coming from a higher life force, because you're being challenged every day with darkness, negativity. And so this is a great way to advance your growth. And that's why we all incarnated here. We incarnated here to advance our soul growth and to experience challenges. And we all come in with a soul contract of the different things that we want to accomplish, various things that we hope to grow and learn from. And so we're here to also, we've also came in with our soul contract with some things that we wanted to accomplish. Some of those things were to help humanity in the ascension process, because that's what we're all going through right now. It's all about Gaia's ascension. She has chosen about 80 years ago to rise out of duality into the higher fifth dimension. So, really, this whole process that we're a part of right now is the ascension process. And in order to ascend and it's really about Gaia's ascension, it's not about us. She cried out about 80 years ago that when she was near death because of all the destruction and negativity and death of World War I and World War II. She cried out, and the galactics heard her cries, and Prime Creator heard her cries and sent the Galactic Federation here. And that's why they're here. They're here because we set off that the atom bomb, and we threatened Gaia, and that would destroy the entire experiment that we're part of here. So the
Uh,
galactics are over here. They're here to make sure that we do not destroy Gaia. That's their main purpose.
yeah. And you said something here that, remember those two guys I mentioned? I
Yeah.
think they're watching because I could hear them saying, "Yeah, sure, Gaia is alive." But I'll tell you something. There is research now, scientific research that has found that Gaia has a language. Greg Braden talks about it, Joe Dispenza talks about it, and there are other scientific experts that understand how to measure the vibration of what we are together with the earth we're living on. So they are saying that all indications show that there's a consciousness in the
Hmm.
earth. So
Hmm.
that backs up exactly what you're saying. And another thing you said was that people are on Venus. Boy, it's pretty hot over there, isn't it? But maybe not. Maybe NASA has been lying to us. Again, I think somebody moved their lips over there and something came out.
Here's my understanding, Augie, on that. It's my understanding, and I get a lot of information from the lightworker messages because once I was convinced that the ET's for real, I wanted to know, well, do they have anything to say? So I started reading lightworker messages, and these would be messages from the archangels, the ascended masters, and galactic beings. And when I started reading these, I learned that this is where I learned about Gaia crying out and asking for help, and the Galactic Federation was sent here to make sure that her wishes are honored. So the Galactics are here to make sure she ascends. But when I started reading Lightworker messages, I found out that Gaia puts out messages as well. And so I would read messages from Gaia. So yeah, you're right. She has a consciousness. She has free will. She has a soul and a spirit just like we do. So she's really just like us. She may not look like us, but I mean she's got the same attributes that we all have. We're all part of source. We're all part of creator source. We're fractals of creator source. And so she's here and she wants to ascend to 5D. And now we're one of the few planets that live on the surface. Most planets that are formed are hollow. And you mentioned Venus. People wonder, well, isn't that a hot planet? How could anyone live on Venus? Well,
Yeah,
most of the civilizations, they live inside the planet, not on the surface of the planet. We're one of the few civilizations that actually is living in both the hollow earth and on the surface. We're not too much in touch with those that live in the hollow earth, but they will be coming forth as we approach 5D, and they will reveal themselves and come to the surface. But right now, they're waiting for us to bring peace. And before the galactics, I think, come to the surface with us, they're also waiting for us to bring peace to because we're dealing with a lot of duality issues on the surface, and these are our issues. They're not for the galactics to interfere with because they have to follow the prime directive. So they're waiting for us to bring peace to the surface, and then they will show up and meet up with us on the surface.
yeah, yeah. And there has been UFO account. I'm calling them UFOs. I don't think I'll ever switch over to the UAP. That's the
Yeah,
government's thing.
yeah,
Let's call it UFOs. And there's been paintings of them from 400 years ago. There's a story coming out of Switzerland. There was a war in the heavens. There were ships shooting at each other, and some of them fell to the ground. And this was back in 1480 something. And
yeah.
there's writing about this, but it increased an awful lot after the atomic explosion started because I guess ET looked at us and said, wait a minute, the kids
Hmm.
found the matches. So
Right.
now we got to make sure they don't burn the house down. So they're
Hmm.
here in large numbers. And there's a guy in Canada, Schwartz up there. He has a big telescope and he puts that on the moon and you can see them in orbit, big ships,
Hmm. Yeah.
hundreds of miles long in orbit around the moon. So they're
Right.
here.
And the it's called the Earth School, and it's one of the toughest schools in the universe. Anyone that chooses to incarnate on planet Earth is going to get a really they're going to learn a lot of lessons because you learn a lot of lessons on this planet. There's a lot of traps. I mean, you can incarnate and have a divine plan that you want to carry out, but there's so many traps on this planet that can trip you up. that you this is
Oh,
this is
yeah.
why this is why we keep coming back because we say we incarnate one time and then we say, well, I didn't quite meet my last goals. I think I'm going to try to give it another shot. Then we
Yeah.
try it again.
We missed some of the traps, so we have to come back.
Yeah. And what makes it difficult is when we incarnate, we have the veil of forgetfulness. So we kind of forget our other incarnations. So it's kind of like having to
Yeah.
start over again. But what's happening now, these energies are coming into the planet Earth and they're helping to raise our vibration. And they're also, when that happens, it activates our DNA because we actually were created with 12 strands of DNA. And then the Anunnaki basically made 10 of those strands dormant. So now we only have 2 strands of DNA, but those other strands are starting to come online and they're being activated with these higher vibrational energies. And this is our hyperdimensional DNA. And this hyperdimensional DNA, it's what actually controls our psychic abilities. So when these DNA strands get activated, that's when we start developing things like telepathy, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, and you're finding more and more people are developing these psychic abilities. We
Yeah.
have more channelers now on the planet than ever before, and it's because they're tapping into their higher abilities. So that's a good
Yeah.
thing. That's a sign that we are ascending into the higher vibrational energies. So we're going to
Yeah.
be going through some difficult times right now as we transition from 3D to 5D. We're in 4D right now. We've already made it up to 4D. So now it's a question of just going the final extra mile here and raising our vibrations.
Yeah, and the thing is that we are evolving because there is scientific evidence of that too. Now
Mhm.
you're talking about the two strands and then the other strands. What other strands? Well, they are there. They're hidden in the so-called junk DNA. I think it was
Mhm.
the UCLA, there's a laboratory at UCLA in California. They did some research on indigo children.
Yeah.
And they found that the junk DNA started to assemble itself around the two. So now they're starting to look like they had three strands. So
Right.
it's coming.
Yeah. And once those strands get activated, you might kind of feel like what's going on. You're going to think, am I going crazy? Am I going nuts? What's happening? I'm hearing voices or I'm hearing these vibrational energies are hitting me in a certain
Yeah.
way or something. But, what you need to do is to spend time in meditation and go within. Because as you do that, you're going to get in touch with whoever it is that's trying to, communicate with you, whether it be your guides, your angelic guides, or whether it might even be some galactic beings or ascended masters. We all have these helpers, and we need to get in touch with them. They're here to help
Yeah.
us, and so many of them are unemployed because we don't ever acknowledge them. So we need to start calling upon our guides, our ascended masters, and those that are helping us.
Sometimes all we have to do is to ask
Hmm.
because I have people living in a house with me here, but they're not physical. I can see them out of my corner of my eye. They're moving around. They're tall and they're people. And they
Right.
live here too. And I bet I'm going to talk to the listeners right now. After this show, if you see shadow people in your house, put something in the notes underneath here in the show and let us know what you see because they are around you everywhere. You're hardly ever alone.
Yeah. And Augie, it's important to know that we have free will. This is a free will planet, and our guides and our those in the higher realms cannot violate our free will. I know the dark ones don't pay any attention to that; they violate it all the time. But those that serve the light, they have to honor our free will. So if you have to ask. They can't
Yeah,
just do something unless you ask for it first because they can't violate our free will. So you have not because you ask not. You got to learn to ask.
yeah, that's right. Just like my mom said, beggars may not get much, but the one who never asks get nothing.
You're right, right.
So we got to ask. And for some reason, I'm not so sure exactly how, but they have a way to understand us, even though they are non physical. It may be because of the thought that is also transmitted along with the words if we speak it aloud. The
Hmm.
words, I don't think, have much of an effect, but the request in mental images and thought that is understood on the outside of the physical.
Yeah, yeah. And another thing that's important to know at this time is that as we are powerful beings, and we just don't know it. Okay,
Yeah.
we have these powerful creation abilities where we can create with our mind and our thoughts and our feelings and our intentions. And we need to make sure that we watch that because we're manifesting things that we don't want to manifest because our thoughts are wrong or we're having the wrong feelings about something. And it's really the feelings that tap into that manifestation powers. So it's really important to watch your feelings. Okay. And if you want to manifest, try to get in touch with those high vibrational feelings, and don't be in those lower vibrational feelings because that's not, you don't want to manifest that stuff. You want to be high vibrational. So start meditating, and that will help also to tap into those higher vibrations.
Yeah, I there's one issue that I want to touch on before we get to the bottom of the hour, and that is extraterrestrials has told us there is a prime directive of
Mhm.
non-interference. But what is going on right now over in Eastern Europe, off Cuba, and along the coast of the United States, there is a lot of people worried about World War III. How much can the extraterrestrial presence or the ships, people in the ships, how much can they interfere to stop without calling it a breach of the prime directive?
That's a good question, Augie. It's my understanding, based upon what I've learned from the Lightworker messages, is the Galactics have said that they are here to protect Gaia. They're not here really to protect us. They're here to protect Gaia because this whole thing is all about her. That's why they came here, to honor her wishes, to make sure she ascends. Now, we have the opportunity to ascend with her if we can raise our vibration. But that's between us and our, creator. That's up to you. The galactics
Yeah.
are here though to watch over Gaia, because if she goes, the whole experiment goes, and there is no ascension. So they're here to protect her, and so they have two things they can intervene on that I'm aware of. They can intervene if Gaia is threatened in any way, and that would cause a nuke would do that. Not only would it threaten and cause Gaia to die, a nuke would has ramifications throughout the entire universe and the hollow earth as well. So they will not allow any nukes to go off. And I hear that they've already deactivated the nukes that are on the planet right now. And if there are any that haven't already been deactivated, they will make sure that they are what they can do from their craft, their UFOs, is they can take the radioisotope in the nuclear warhead and make it inert remotely from their craft. So just like we had these incidences where UFOs were flying over certain nuclear silos, and they would deactivate the nukes where they couldn't do anything for a period of time. That's one thing they can do is they can just simply deactivate the missiles that are in the silos right there. But they can also make the radioisotope in the nuclear warhead inert so that it will not activate when it hits the ground. It would just be a piece of metal that hits the ground. So they've intervened, I hear, already 9 times on nuclear incidences from the past. They intervened and stopped it, and made sure it didn't happen. And they will
Yep.
continue to do that if they try to fire a nuke. And the other incidents that they can intervene on is the ascension timeline itself. And the reason they can intervene on that is because this is all about Gaia's ascension. So, and that's what the Dark Ones here that have ruled this planet since the fall of Atlantis are trying to make sure doesn't happen is the ascension. And so they're here to make sure that we stay in a low vibration. So that's why they're always hitting us with fear. That's why our news is nothing but fear all the time. We never have good stories. We always have negative stuff. It's to bring
Yeah.
the vibration down as low as they can. Because if they can keep the vibration low, it prevents us from ascending. So this is really all about ascension, and it's about learning to raise your vibration and get all that negative stuff out of your mind, out of your environment, and go with everything you can that's positive at this point because you want to raise your vibration. So concentrate on reading the positive material, watching uplifting videos, anything that's going to help raise your vibration is what you want to latch onto right now. That's so important because now if the dark ones try to do anything that will alter the ascension timeline, the galactics can intervene. And they will, and they have done so many times. Now, that's kind of difficult for us to know exactly what constitutes intervention in that, but they have the intelligence and the ability to know whether or not something is going to affect the ascension timeline, and they will intervene. So that's
Well,
good. I mean, once you know that, then it kind of takes away a lot of fear because you know, okay, they're not going to allow anything to happen that's going to alter the ascension timeline or allow any nukes. So I'm just going to stay positive.
yeah. Yeah. I could hear one of those two guys again. And he said, yeah, sure, they can neutralize nuclear material. Well, they have done it and it's verified. There was a red disk that came and floated right above one of the silos in North Dakota. And it was sitting there for, I don't know, a few minutes, and then it left. And it made the nuclear material as well as to shut down the circuits. They couldn't even start it if they wanted to. And this was in a congressional hearing. There was I believe it was a colonel that was on there, and he testified to it. This happened right above the silo, that there were people in there, and just monitoring it and being ready to do something if they needed to. So yes, this happened. It neutralized the atomic material.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So remember now we're at 4D now, and we're getting ready to transition into 5D. So what's going to happen now? And this is happens on all planets
Oh,
that are.
oh, Bill, this is
Yes.
getting good. Let's wait for that one. I got just
Okay.
a couple of things here. We're at the bottom of the hour, and for those of you that joined us late, we're talking with Bill Mee, returning to Broadcast Team Alpha and the Paranormal World Show. And we are talking about the mysteries of what's going on in the skies and how it will and how it is affecting us right now, how it can help in case of what many are afraid of right now, World War III. So we are getting into the weeds here, but I tell you, there's science in those weeds that prove that what we're talking about has some substance to it. And when you just said here, Bill, that we got to get rid of the negative vibrations in our mind. And that is one thing that we do in the mastermind group that Nori and I put together and Bill is part of. We create sometimes out of seemingly nothing because we
Mhm.
found how we can reach into the quantum existence, find things that we want, and bring it back into the physical. So if anybody out there wants to join us and have a look at that, and it's free, just come and join us and check it out. Then you can support us later on if you feel like it. Send us an email to themastermindconnection@gmail.com. Themastermindconnection@gmail.com. And we'll get the email. We'll send you a link so you can come and check it out on Wednesday night or Monday night or on Sundays when we do a meditation and manifestation at 2 o'clock East Coast time and 11 o'clock at Pacific time. So,
Yeah,
gosh,
I have something to say about that.
yeah.
On the what's important to know is that, and it's been kept from us ever since, for thousands of years, that we are powerful creator beings. And the dark ones never wanted us to know that. So that's always been covered up. But we are powerful creator beings. And in the lower vibrations of 3D, we use our thoughts and intentions to create things, but there's a lag time and it takes a while for it to finally manifest. Okay.
Yeah.
But now what happens when you move into 4D, your thoughts and intentions and your feelings will cause the manifestation to happen faster because we're in a higher vibrational state. So when we get to 5D, our thoughts and intentions are going to start manifesting things instantly. That's why we got to be very careful with our thoughts right now and learn how to control our thoughts and our emotions and our feelings, because we're going to start manifesting instantly when we get to 5D if we make ascension. And therefore, we need to learn how to do that now in 4D. So things are speeding up, time is speeding up, but our manifestations are speeding up. And that's why the mastermind is so good, because now we can get into the mastermind, use our creative abilities, and we can manifest things so much faster than we could back in 3D. So we're seeing
Yeah.
phenomenal results right now. Things are happening very fast after we do a guided meditation, and we see all kinds of things happening.
Oh yeah, there's healings and there's people that have windfall in economics, and we got to
Hmm.
remember the definition of a mastermind is when two or more minds are united in harmony, they create a third mind that has the potential mind power of the two or more of them multiplied by each other.
Yeah.
Well, let's say if 1,000 people get together and concentrate on one thing, now you got the mind power of 1,000,000 minds. Now we don't have 1,000 people yet, but that is what happens. And that mastermind is immensely powerful. So
Yes.
come and
Yeah. And
check it out. You just might like it.
I think it goes exponentially. The more people you have, the more it grows exponentially in
Yeah,
power, that is.
absolutely. All right. Well, oh gosh, we were talking earlier also that there's some things that this so-called powers that be have planned for us.
Yes.
But it looks like that will probably be thwarted. It'll be there will be something similar, but it will be turned in a good direction. You mentioned we had 2 years worth of lockdowns in some countries, but here is a different form of lockdown coming. Please speak about that a little bit.
Sure. Well, here's the situation. We're in 4D now. We're moving to 5D, and what happens is, in order to move to a higher vibrational society, you need to have 5D structures in place. Okay. And we've been living under 3D, and we've had these old controlling structures that have been put in place by the cabal. Okay. Things like the Federal Reserve, central banking, we have all these control institutions that are designed to kind of control humanity. Okay. Those need to crumble. And that's what happens when in an ascension process on a planet. The old 3D structures will start to crumble, but good thing we have the Earth Alliance. And the Earth Alliance is made up of the good military with some of the galactic beings, and they've joined together, and they are working behind the scenes to put together 5D structures to replace the 3D structures that are currently crumbling right now. Many people are aware that the banks now, there's over, I think, 62 banks that are insolvent, but they won't say anything because it would cause a bank run. So they're keeping it quiet. But these banks are crumbling under the old 3D system, and they have a new system in place that's going to replace it. That's the quantum financial system. Okay. And that quantum financial system is ready to go, I hear. It's running parallel to the current system. Okay. And it gets rid of central banks. You will become your own bank. You don't need a central bank. You wherever you go, you have access to your account, and only you know what's in your account. Now, in order to make the financial system stable, they needed a backing to the system instead of just based on the faith the people have in the currency. That isn't going to do it. So we're going back to a gold-backed currency, and that's worldwide. And if you notice, BRICS keeps taking in more and more members that are willing to join BRICS. Well, to be part of BRICS, you need to be willing to back your currency with gold. Okay, we have now Asia just came online. Two countries in Asia, I think Thailand and Malaysia are going to be
Yeah,
part of BRICS.
yeah,
So we
yeah.
have these countries now, 59 of them.
Yeah, what you said also be backed by gold. I think what they're going to have gold and silver
Yes,
and maybe other things in that basket of assets, and that's why you guys need to check out. Huh, there you go.
there you go.
Sil-
Yeah,
Silver coins,
right. Yeah,
because
asset
silver
backed.
will, yeah, it's going to be asset backed because there is even the head of the Federal Reserve Bank right now said in a speech before, well, actually it was a hearing before Congress that we're writing back seat. We don't know how long we can keep it going.
Right, right,
It will come down, and a new currency will rise out of the ashes as the phoenix.
right. I think the Earth Alliance right now, Augie, they're trying to determine um, the exact precise timing to do the switchover. They need the old system to collapse, but at the same time, they don't want to create a whole bunch of chaos. So they're trying to do a smooth transition as possible, but they do need the old system to crash so that we can just do away with it completely. So we might experience a collapse of the financial system, but the new quantum system will come online as soon as that happens. And there's going to be people that are going to do quite well when this happens because there's going to have to be a currency reevaluation of all the lower currencies that are devalued because of war or revolution. And those are going to be revalued before we switch over to this asset backed currency. So if anybody has any foreign currency that's undervalued, you'll be able to take advantage of that because there is going to be a time where we will be able to exchange that for the new asset backed currency in your local country, wherever you reside. So a lot of people are going to be doing humanitarian projects with the money that they will be making on this currency reevaluation. And I have a couple of projects planned myself that I will reveal in future interviews that we can do.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
one thing
and
that's real important, I think, Augie, is to make sure that these stable 5D structures are in place. The Galactics want to see those in place and that we have established peace before they come on the scene. So even though they're out there and they will continue to increase their sightings and show themselves more and more and more, they're not going to come on the scene until I think we have the new quantum financial system in place and we have some of these other 5D structures in place because they don't want to be the ones to create the chaos by coming on the scene.
yeah,
They want us to have everything stabilized, then they will come on the scene.
that would make sense actually, because otherwise, they will blame the extraterrestrials for
Yeah, exactly.
what would
They have
happen.
to watch that so closely. They have to be careful how much sightings they do because they know that they're going to be blamed for probably a alien
Yeah,
invasion if they overdo it.
yeah. And the BRICS nations will be part of that new system.
Right, right. That's right. fact, eventually, I think the U.S. will be part of it, but it's just right now we have to get rid of the cabal, and as soon as which they are kind of controlling the U.S. right now. But once they're out of the picture, then the U.S. will come on board to BRICS as well, just like all
Yeah,
the other 59. There's 59, but there's going to be a total of 209 countries that I think are going to join BRICS.
yeah, yeah. And the thing, uh, as of right now, the United States has not been invited into
Yeah,
the BRICS.
right.
But
Yeah.
if they can find assets, I think they probably would. The only thing about that is that we have, what is it now, $36 trillion worth of debt. So the United States must file bankruptcy and get rid of that
Hmm.
first.
Yeah.
Then they can be invited in.
Yeah, I suspect that the Earth Alliance has already communicated with BRICS, saying that under the new system and the new administration that they will be they will meet the requirements and they will join. But right now, they're not the BRICS and the cabal that runs the U.S. They don't have any communication. They're diametrically opposed to each other. So don't expect anything until we switch over to the new system, and then we'll hook up.
Yeah, and I think the United States may have a problem coming up with gold in order to join because even at the gold at Fort Knox, they tried to sell gold to China here about 8 to 10 years ago, and the Chinese, they were smart. They drilled it, so they found out what was inside, and they said, "Oh, these are just gold-plated bars," and they got really pissed. So they told the Americans, "If you send us the real gold, otherwise we're gonna dump $1 trillion worth of paper back on you." So
Yeah, that
that,
was the cabal that did that. Yeah, but
yeah,
I understand, Augie. I understand that they have the gold situation under hand. They got it all under control. I think it was about 3 years ago. They did a raid on the Vatican, and they went into an underground tunnel, and they had so much gold there that it took 165 planes to cart it back to the United States. And I hear it's at Mount Cheyenne. It's in Cheyenne Mountain, I hear, and it's going to be used to back the new system for the United States and maybe even some of the other countries. There's enough gold, I hear, to handle it. It's just a question of letting the old system finally die, and they'll bring on the new one online.
yeah.
Now
Now
we're going to have
during
now here's what kind of important thing that people need to know. There's going to be a paper currency, and it's going to be backed by gold, but there's also going to be a digital currency that's also backed by gold. So you'll have your currency maybe in paper and using paper, but if you want to do online transactions, you'll be able to convert your paper gold currency to a digital gold currency. I think they're going to be using XRP because it's compliant. And in order to use a digital currency, it has to have two requirements. It has to be backed by gold or silver, and it has to be ISO 222 compliant. Now, what that is, that's a messaging protocol that interfaces with the quantum financial system. So if you want to do any interactions with the quantum financial system, you have to know that messaging protocol, and that's ISO 222. And you have to be compliant with that. And I hear that if you're a cryptocurrency, which is not usually backed by anything, what I'm being told is the Earth Alliance has said that what they're going to do is what one thing that goes with this quantum financial system is the new quantum internet, which is going to be coming online too. And the quantum internet is going to be just super fast. It's going to be far superior than anything we have. And the reason that we're primarily switching over to the quantum internet is because they're going to get rid of all the control factors that the big corporations have, like Google, Microsoft, and all these other ones.
Yeah,
Under the new quantum internet, no corporation has control. It's controlled by the Space Force, and they're the ones that watch over it and make sure that nobody interferes with the quantum internet. So when we switch over to the quantum internet, you'll need these. I hear that what'll happen is these cryptocurrencies are not going to be, the Earth Alliance has stated they're not going to allow them onto the new quantum internet unless they back their crypto by gold or silver and they become ISO 222 compliant. So if they're not, I don't think they're going to shut them down, but they're just not going to be on the quantum internet. So what good are they? You may have money in your crypto, but what'll happen is when we switch over to the new system, if you can't get on the quantum internet, then your money is there in that crypto company, but you can't really do anything with it. So all you can do is cash it out into your local currency, then take that local currency and move it into the new gold backed currency, either the digital version or the paper version, and then go from there. That's what's going to happen, I think. That's because you
Mhm.
can't really have these cryptocurrencies that are worth nothing, they're backed by nothing, into a quantum financial system that is going to be backed by assets. The two are
Yeah.
incompatible. And so I think the
Yeah.
Earth Alliance is just not going to allow the ones that don't have any backing to be on the new quantum internet until they get
Yeah.
compliant. If they become compliant, then they can come on board.
Yeah. And there's one thing I still want to dwell a little bit on, and that is the 10 days
Oh,
of
yes.
when nothing works. And that means staying at home for 10 days. Stores will be closed, and you can't really, well, you probably could, but you probably also shouldn't go anywhere for 10 days. And that means store food and water. Make sure you have, I say store water because nobody with their half a mind will drink tap water.
Hmm.
So talk a little bit about maybe how should we prepare for this?
Okay. First of all, make sure you eliminate all fear. Okay. Stay positive. Realize it's a transition period and the old 3D structures need to crumble. They need to go away. So let them go and get rid of all attachments to anything that's low vibration, 3D. Just get attachments are your worst enemy because they hold you back. So let everything go. Start embracing the new. We're going to start coming. These 5D structures are going to need to come online, but there may be a downtime. So I hear that what the Earth Alliance is going to do, they're the ones in charge of this whole changeover in the quantum financial system and everything. They're going to shut everything down. It's going to be a complete lockdown. And they need to do that in order to get us over to the new quantum internet. So there may be no communications. And I hear the Galactics, which the Earth Alliance is part of, they can take over the satellite communication system, and I think they will.
Yeah,
So they'll just take over all communication systems and switch us over to a new system. And then, of course, the financial system will be down. I think ATM machines will be down, so you probably won't be able to use an ATM machine. So you should probably stock up a little bit for 2 to 3 weeks, is what I hear. Now you
yeah,
can do that in various ways. My favorite way is I like the a lot of people say buy beans and rice. It's cheap, it's easy, but that gets really old fast. You get tired of eating beans and rice every day. I like these green protein powders. You can buy protein and greens from uh, um, various companies make these. They mix organic uh, fruits and vegetables in with protein. And so you can get about 20 to 30 grams of protein, and they last for 30 days, and they don't take up a lot of space. And you can buy 2 or 3 of those, and I know you may get tired of drinking a smoothie every day, but still, it's a good way to get some good nutrition. You're getting organic fruits and vegetables, and you're getting a good dose of protein. Protein is one of the hardest things to try to store up. People talk about food storage and stuff. It's always a question of, okay, can I get my protein in today? Well, you can get that in a good protein and green shake. So that's my preference. Now you can also, buy other stuff to that you think will have a pretty good shelf life that in case there's any power outages and you lose your refrigeration, you might want to have a few things that will still, keep that refrigeration. I don't think we're going to have total um, electricity outages. There may be spottage outages here and there, but I don't think it's going to be everywhere. They're trying to make this as smooth transition as possible. But because there's so many people that are not aware and don't know what's going on, it could be rather chaotic because there's going to be a lot of people that may decide to demonstrate and cause a lot of violent destructions and stuff. So the Earth Alliance is going to activate the military and put us under a complete lockdown and they're gonna, if there's any situations that arise like that, they will intervene and put it down. They want to make sure that I think planes are going to be grounded. The only thing I think might be working is emergency services, you know, 911, things like that. So if you know maybe an ambulance or something if you need an ambulance, but everything else is going to be locked down for about 10 to 14 days as we transition over to the new system.
Yeah, and this is what we hear from the military people at the top.
Hmm. Yeah.
So he's not coming from extraterrestrials. This is what is expected. So we will see.
And
And
I'm hearing both. It's coming from both, so that confirms it even more for me.
yeah, yeah. Oh boy.
So anyway, once we get through though this bumpy ride for the next 6 months, then we start transitioning into 5D. We're moving now, right now, the first these 6 months from the summer solstice to the December solstice, which is 6 months. This is called the age or the rise of the light workers. Okay, this is when the light workers, which came here to help raise the vibration and to achieve certain things, are going to start coming online, realizing their higher abilities. They're going to be activated. They're going to be finding out what they came here for, their divine mission, and they're going to start going into doing whatever they came here to do. So that's over the next 6 months. That's going to be exciting because we're going to see a lot of exciting things with new projects, all kinds of light workers doing all kinds of things.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting times coming. And I would suggest, even for the two guys out there that don't know anything, just go to YouTube and start poking around. They're doing a little research, but use your discretion. Not everything on YouTube is actually as it says.
Right.
So we're trying to do the best we can here on Broadcast Team Alpha, and Bill is doing on his group. That is, I'm part of that, and he's kind of a weird guy. He works at night, and then he
Yeah, I
sleeps
have
in the
strange hours.
daytime.
Yeah, I have crazy hours. I'm kind
Yeah,
of used to it.
yeah, that's all
Yeah, but if
right.
anyone, anyone can, they need to contact me and they want to join my Telegram group, just send me an email. If you don't see the link, you just send it to WMEE2012 at gmail.com. So that's WME2012 at gmail.com.
Great, that's good. And we we know, we can feel it in the bone that something big is about to happen. Even the CIA has come out and said, yeah, the electric grid will shut down. They said it will. So that means, they're planning it,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
will they be able to carry through with it? That's what I'm not so sure of.
I
I
think
know
the Earth
they,
Alliance, yeah, I think the Earth Alliance is going to make sure it doesn't go completely down. They're watching it
mhm,
very closely. But yeah, I would go ahead and prepare and have some lights, way to have some lighting in case it does happen. And I don't think it'll be for a long period of time, but just be prepared in case it does, because I think there could be some short outages here and there that you might have to deal with.
yeah. And here's another thing that some of you need to think of. You have pets. If you're
Mhm.
stashing up on canned food for yourself, don't forget your cats and dogs and parakeets. Because I got two and a half cat here at the house. Yeah, the half cat is one that thinks she live here. So we got to stash pet food, cat food, dog food, just enough to last through the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Don't forget your pets.
Yeah. Well, this is something that we know things are coming, but we're not totally sure of what.
Right. Well,
So,
just know that it's all part of the ascension process. We're all ascending for those that can raise their vibration. And that's really what everybody should be working on right now and concentrating is raising your vibration.
Mhm.
And you might ask, well, how do you do that? Well, there's several ways. One is to, first of all, stay away from all the negative stuff, turn off the news. Um, Also, getting out in nature. Gaia has a very high vibration. Get out of the city and get out in nature. That will help raise your vibration. You should do
Yeah,
that every so often. One of the biggest ways to raise your vibration is do a daily meditation. That's one of the fastest ways to raise your vibration. Start, if you haven't done it before, start with 10 minutes and then keep adding 5 minutes every week until you can get up to maybe a 30 minutes or an hour every day. And that will really raise your vibration. It will also help you tap into your higher abilities, connect with your guides, and all that sort of good stuff. So, and the other thing you can do is watch your diet. Food has a vibration too. And what you ingest in with you when you eat is going to affect your vibration. They say from the lightworker messages, they say at this point we really should stop eating meat because meat, the animals are killed in a state of fear, and fear is your lowest vibration. So when you're eating meat, you're really taking that fear into your body, and you really need to quit doing that because it's keeping your vibration low. So in order to do that, start eating high vibration. You can replace it with just some good high vibrational fruits and vegetables, and those are live foods and they'll raise your vibration. And that's why I like the protein and greens because it's one way you're getting your organic fruits and vegetables, but you're getting a good dose of protein to go with it. If you're just eating fruits and vegetables, you're eating carbs, but you're not getting your protein. So that's why I like the protein and greens because you're getting both the protein and the high vibrational fruits and vegetables.
yeah,
And make sure you go organic because you got to go organic these days. The food is being polluted.
yeah, absolutely. And another thing is try to eat as much raw, natural food
Mm,
as you can. I eat a lot of oatmeal and salads and stuff, and yeah, I eat meat too. Well, I don't know. Last I had beef, but I do chicken and
yeah.
eggs and stuff.
That's what I
But
did. I kind of cut out things one at a time, Augie. I started with red
yeah,
meat, and then I said, okay, I think I'll just stay with chicken and turkey and fish. And then I kicked out
yeah,
I think I kicked out the fish because the waters are so polluted. And then I started going with just turkey and chicken. And then I kicked out the chicken, and then I finally kicked out the turkey. So you can do it
uh,
gradually.
yeah. Well, I tell you, we are just about down towards the end here, and be positive about what's coming. Expect good things, and then go within, go into meditation, and visualize what you want to have happening in your timeline in the future, what you want to have, who you're going to be with, and what you're going to do. Visualize it in your mind and then place it in the future and go back and forth and visit it every day so it draws you up
Mhm.
that timeline to it. And then come and visit us in the mastermind connection on Sundays at 2 o'clock East Coast time or 11 o'clock Pacific. And whatever you create in your mind will help you get it.
Augie, the Galactics say we have one primary job: raise your vibration. That's what they say. Raise your vibration.
Yeah, that's our job.
Mhm.
Oh, I got to ask you a question, and that, Bill, if you could talk to the whole world and the world is listening, what would you tell them?
I would tell them, first of all, learn who you really are. Okay, you are a divine, eternal, multidimensional creator being. And you need to recognize that and get a hold of that and grab onto it and start living it and start putting it to practice. You are a divine creator, multidimensional being, and you are powerful beyond measure. And you need to only thing you need to do to tap into those higher powers that you have is just to raise your vibration, and you will tap into those higher psychic abilities and higher powers that you have. And if you can do that, you'll be ascending with Gaia. And that's our number one goal, is to ascend with Gaia.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we'll help you do in the mastermind. So send us an email to themastermindconnection@gmail.com. Tell them one more time how they can get into and get your information on the group that you have put together.
Sure. I run a Telegram group. It's called New Earth Happenings and Libertarian Projects. I use that term libertarian because it's a new word. There's no word that really represents that word. Ren Owens helped me. She coined the word, and I just borrowed it. And it's a word that, if you look up the word humanitarian, it just says the welfare for humans, and that's about it. And some law dictionaries change it to monster and all kinds of crazy names. But yeah, but libertarian is more representative of the projects that I'm going to do, which encompasses love, prosperity, and not just welfare, and not just for humans. It's for animals, for the entire planet Earth. So I chose that new word, which encompasses the entire planet Earth. And you can get in touch with me by my email, wmee2012@gmail.com. And I
That's
will
good.
send you the link. I'll send you the link in my
Okay.
Telegram room.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for being with us here. So we will see you on Wednesday night. Well,
Right.
that's Wednesday night is the mastermind group. So send us an email and I will send you a link to come and check it out. So thank you very much, Bill. And until next time, for all of you listeners out there and the viewers out there, be good to each other.